Okay, so let us talk about the hottest LLM in the game. This LLM that's causing people to freak the fuck out because it's Chinese. And the United States is supposed to be winning the war, the race to AGI. And OpenAI was apparently supposed to have this moat of protection against it. But with the introduction of DeepSeek, which was launched on Christmas Day while everybody was chilling, started to shake things up. And even, because I'm not such I'm not a coding guy, I'm not a tech guy, I don't truly understand. Ty and I try to wrap our head around like what makes this so revolutionary. So I'm going to try to explain it to you, but maybe somebody can explain it even better. I'm not claiming to know everything about this. I'm just here to introduce these incredible tools and share with you how we're using them inside of our own business. So the first thing is cost. With DeepSeek's API, it's about 30 times cheaper than OpenAI. So when you're using it inside of anything agentic that has to run tasks, you could do it very, very cheap now with DeepSeek. Another thing is that this is completely open source. So while you can interact with it on the internet in a browser through their app, you can also download this locally. So I use LM Studio, and you can go ahead and go to LM Studio, download that. Allows you to run local language models on your computer. And DeepSeek is light enough. The 1.5 billion parameter model is only about 1.3 gigabytes to download onto a computer. So it can be literally downloaded onto any device, right? Any like basic store-bought computer can run a large language model now. And why is that important? Well, prior to this being released, most of the models were super big. They use a lot of parameters, a lot of data to achieve this goal. DeepSeek has proven that you don't need all of that data to be on par or even sometimes better than a behemoth like OpenAI. So that's what we're seeing first off. The second thing is that when they launched their reasoning model a few weeks after they launched uh, the original chat platform called DeepThink, um, that's also open source. That really is what is people are freaking out about, because this is essentially what OpenAI's reasoning model is doing, but it tells you exactly what it's thinking. So if you come to DeepSeek and you click DeepThink, that will access the reasoning model. And when you talk to it, it'll showcase its thought process on arriving to its output. Now, that's important. Why? Well, it gives, number one, a lot of people insight that only prior to this being released, OpenAI had, and we're kind of keeping it secret. Now that people are starting to see what its reasoning process is, that's going to be able to be used for other LLMs here in the future that have reasoning capabilities, and it's going to help us understand how we can, maybe even accelerate the capabilities of these models. Now, the third thing is because the code is open source, that means that people who are good at code, developers, can take this large language model. And do you remember when you could jailbreak like phones and stuff? And they wouldn't be able to do specific things, but then you could jailbreak it, and then you could get it to do specific things, or you could change the network from T-Mobile to AT&T or AT&T to Verizon by jailbreaking it, right? Well, that's essentially what you can do now, but with a large language model. So DeepSeek, being that it's from China, not going to be allowed to talk about specific things, right? Like Taiwan, for instance. If you talk to it about Taiwan, it just won't have anything in there. But because the code is open source, that means that I expect to see like a slew of custom LLMs that are going to be altered based off of this DeepSeek code, that now a developer can just take, alter it to do something specific. And if it wants to talk about Taiwan, they can make their model talk about Taiwan, or they can make their model only talk about grilled cheeses or something. You know what I mean? It can be jailbroken now. You could take the model, the code that DeepSeek has given to everybody for free, and then you can adjust it and edit it and improve upon it. Essentially, is what they're trying to do. Which in coding is one of these things that a marketer just doesn't understand, because coders give away all of their work for free. so other coders can look at it and suggest edits and create different like polls and all this weird stuff that to a marketer you'd be like, what the hell? Like, we're trying to sell our stuff, right? Like, we're not trying to give it away for free. But that's what essentially coding is. Coding is like this open source environment. That's why coding can. That's the only reason coding can advance as quickly as it can, because you have a bunch of people working on the code that you wouldn't have if you were just kind of trying to gatekeep it. So it opens up this whole new world to where now large language models are going to be open sourced at this level that can be, that can get results as good as a company that's funded with billions of dollars. Now a random guy could just download that code to his computer, alter it, and be in the game with them. That's pretty impressive, right? And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other things that you can use it for, but I want to just showcase really quick how it thinks, in its processing. So let's just ask it a question here. I don't know. Can you tell me the process of building underground tunnels? And then you can see it's thinking. And because it is a reasoning model, it's not going to be as quick. It has to like think and process, right? So, where you could speed that up is with, NVIDIA chips and stuff like that, where you could build out like a super crazy fucking, like place for this to think and process quickly, right? So that you could use it in more applications. But it still remains that you can put this on, pretty much any device at this point, which is exciting because, it's going to be integrated into every fabric of our life. So as I'm sitting here talking, it's thinking, right? And I'll read this to you here in a minute, but it's pretty freaking crazy, right? So its thought process went through, a series of steps. It said, all right, first I got to figure out the process of building underground tunnels. Let me start by recalling what I know. I know that tunnels are built for transportation. So it's like, all right, well, maybe something like drilling or using a tunnel boring machine. Wait, I think there's a machine called a TBM. Okay, interesting. But how does that work? First, there's got to be planning involved. So engineers probably survey the area. After planning, they maybe start excavating. If it's soft ground, they might use this thing called a shield tunneling method, which I just heard about recently. That's why I'm asking this question. Where they support the tunnel as they dig. For hard rock, maybe drilling or blasting, maybe using a TBM. TBM is a big machine. So you can see it's got this thinking process, right? Like, but wait, are there other methods besides TBM? There's cut and cover where they dig a trench. So it's literally going through its brain and finding the information and thinking about it. Hey, did I miss anything? And then delivering this output. Now, the output is something that we've been seeing from, if you're a ChatGPT Plus user, then you've probably been seeing these types of outputs. But what you have not been seeing is the reasoning behind it. How long did it think for? Thought for 29 seconds on this problem. And you can see it thought through it, right? So I've been using DeepSeek. The first conversation I had with it was my concerns that it was a competitor country like LLM. Like, what are the threats of using you? Was my first conversation with this thing. But I've seen how, using it inside of like agentic frameworks. So instead of using OpenAI, just use DeepSeek. You get pretty much like 97% of the results, sometimes even better depending on the things that you're using. So for cost, it's just complete. It's a game changer. And then, it's got operator as well. It's already had operator. Like, that's the thing. It's just, they don't showcase it. You have to figure out how to set it up. Google it, DeepSeek operator. Go Google it and see that it's already had it. It's probably better than fucking ChatGPT's, to be honest with you. So go and take a look at that. And you don't have to pay $200 a month to get access to it. So these are the types of things that DeepSeek is doing. Kind of fucking making ChatGPT pull their punches, because it's they're keeping them on their heels for sure. And ChatGPT is announcing that they're going to be offering all this stuff for free coming up. This is why. But yeah, go ahead, play with it. You'll see, like, when we're building out our frameworks for agents, we're probably going to be using this model, and that's why. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one. Talk soon. Peace.